Sup YouTube, it's Regidrago TCG here. Welcome back to our TCG video on my channel. On this channel you get tons of Pokemon TCG content, so be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. We are slowly but steadily making our way to 100,000 subscribers, and I couldn't be any more proud of the community that we have built here on the channel. So thank you everyone for watching the content. If you like at any given point the video, be sure to let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button. Only takes one tiny second of your time. So, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing a tier list prediction video for Surging Sparks. Surging Sparks has been released ever since November 8th, and today we're going to be doing a tier list prediction. We already have a little bit of data from, of course, the online tournament circuit as well as the Japanese city leagues. We're going to be taking those into account with my personal opinion as well. So as a little disclaimer, this is my opinion. If your tier list is looking completely different, let me know in the comments below what you would change and what would you actually put in the don't play this category or put in tier S. Or maybe there's even a deck that is not actually mentioned in this video. I want to hear your opinion down below in the comments. Without further ado, we're going to be starting off with the new decks of Surging Sparks. And let's talk about the one, the only Ceruledge. I think Ceruledge currently, I have tested it out already on the channel. I'm going to be putting it at the tier B category. The reason for that is that it is still a two-price Pokemon, and on the very first turn of the game, most of the time you're not able to do anything. Some people are testing out Ceruledge with a couple of Jet Energies and adding in the Fan Rotom, so the Fan Rotom can dish out 70 damage on the very first turn. Some people are testing out some Jet Energies with the Illumise package as well as Volbeat to get more setup. I understand that, but you do always need an additional turn, and sometimes decks can actually be quite scary, definitely because the Miraidon decks of the world have actually gained a lot of support to be better than ever before. So on the other hand, Ceruledge does come back with the ways to be very aggressive by the second turn. You're going to be playing it with the Blender, the Mixed Blender, the Ace Pack card, allowing you to discard 5 cards from your deck. You're actually slapping 30 damage plus 20 more for every energy in your discard pile, and with stuff like Pokestop, Radiant Greninja, Squawkabilly EX, and the Mixed Blender, you are going to be able to do miracles. You can also add in a 1/1 line of Palkia VSTAR and then use that to power up Radiant Greninja as well. And Palkia VSTAR can be another attacker with a different weakness. So yeah, currently tier B, people still need to perfect the list a little bit more to make sure that it is better than it can be currently. Archaludon, I don't know where I want to be putting this. Sometimes I feel like it's a solid tier B deck, and other times I feel like it's not even worth the time. I think for now, I'm going to be putting it in tier C. Don't shoot the messenger, but for me, it hasn't been the best deck in the format. People can, of course, combine it with Dialga VSTAR to come out of nowhere, but I've found like if people are able to go for a Iono or a Roxanne or Unfair Stamp in combination with destroying your Archaludon EX, it is actually pretty tricky. Also, your damage output is only 220 damage. You know, can add that up with stuff like the... sometimes people are playing Maximum Belt, you can get Vitality Band, but it doesn't actually do the numbers on the big V-Star or the big EXs of the world, and that's why I'm actually putting it down only on the tier C. I think Ceruledge is a little bit better than Archaludon. I'm not saying that any decks from tier C and above cannot win tournaments. That is not true, otherwise I'll be putting it in the don't play this category. But for me, Archaludon has not been performing the way I wanted it to do. Although you could think like, oh, Archaludon, we're going to be combining that maybe with a big barrel engine or maybe with Reverum and then going for a heavier line on the Turo Palpad combination. But even then, it's sometimes tricky to pull it off. Moving forward, Milotic Ogerpon. I'm also going to be putting this in the tier C category for now. This is a tier list prediction video. Sometimes it spikes a tournament, but you can easily counter against these decks with a one-off of Cologne. So that's why I'm never putting it higher than tier C, because with a simple Cologne, you can hit through all these walls. Milotic cannot get attacked by any Terra Pokemon, but we still already have access to stuff like Mimikyu, which does that and even more. And that's why I'm only putting it in tier C. I think there are better ways than winning games. I think something like a Pidgeot control deck is probably better than the Milotic deck, because even though it has like a lot of versatility, like we have Milotic to wall, you have Cornerstone Ogerpon to wall against Pokemon with abilities, you have Mimikyu to wall against Vs and EXs, you can even throw in a Noivern to wall against basic Pokemon. That's all good and well, but in my opinion, that's only tier C for me. Another tier C deck that I'm a big fan of, to be honest, is going to be the Hydreigon. I might even put it in tier B. Let's just put it in the low end of tier B, because people are underestimating the power that Hydreigon comes back with. You can choose to go for its first attack and discard resources from the opponent. I have won a couple of games already on the channel with Hydreigon, using of course a Patcherin in the list as well, because that's gonna mean that you have free retreat by your side, and that means you can go for even funkier plays against those walling decks. You can just mill them out. How cool is that? Another thing is that you can go for its second attack, doing 130 damage to 3 targets, 130 to the active and 2 to the bench. I know Manaphy ruins your plan completely, but with a Pidgeot EX in the list, and even you can try to get something like a Cologne thrown up in the list, you can do some really crazy plays because Hydreigon can attack back to back. Unlike like a Regidrago VSTAR that is able to like use Kyurem and then do it again, it's a little bit more difficult. With Hydreigon, you don't have that downside. So let's just put it at the lower end of tier B for now. Okay, Azumarill is cool in theory, but I'll put that in the don't play this category. I know it slaps a ridiculous amount of damage for a low amount of energies if you have a Terra Pokemon in play, only requiring 1 psychic energy, but it does come back with the same problems that decks like this usually have, is that they come back with low HP Marils and with a lot of sniping decks. In the format out there, I don't see this deck instantly winning tournaments. That's why I'm putting it in the don't play this category. Another interesting fact about this new situation is like Lost Box Pikachu. I don't know if I want to be playing it at tier A, but not a lot of decks currently are actually playing any way to deal with Pikachu's ability. The Pikachu actually comes back with an ability that if it gets one-shotted, it actually is not one-shotted and its remaining HP becomes 10 instead. You can be, of course, powering it up quite easily with Mirage Gate, and that's gonna help this deck survive. 300 damage output, just not nearly enough to one-shot stuff like Charizard EX, but if you play the other Stadium card that puts stage 2s down with 30 reduction, you can actually get the numbers done. So Pikachu EX combined with something like Iron Hands, which also uses lightning energy, combined with a Blood Moon, the deck is actually pretty interesting. I don't know how good Regidrago VSTAR or the popularity of Regidrago VSTAR will still be, but I think this deck is actually, I might even put it in tier A in the prediction. It could still be slapped down terribly, but let's just put it in tier A because we're only talking about the new decks from the set here. So for me, this is looking fine. I think Pikachu EX is slowly but steadily becoming my favorite Terra EX from this set, and I'm actually not putting anything down in tier S from the new decks in my prediction. So that is the way it is currently looking. If we just take a look at it through the means of like when we can see tier S as well, I think this is where we're at currently with no tier S, with only the new decks into account. Okay. Let's continue on with a solid tier A deck. It's going to be Lugia. Lugia is not going to be changing too much here, although it does struggle against the Miraidon. The uptick in the popularity of Miraidon EX is also not good for Lugia, but it's still a deck that has the versatility, and Lugia has proven itself to be able to win against Miraidon decks from time to time if you come back with the jamming tower, so for Sealstone does not activate and stuff, or maybe you put a Klawf Deck up front so they cannot do a lot. So there are definitely ways around that, and that's why I'm still putting Lugia in tier A. It's a very strong deck indeed. Let's talk about some decks that actually gain a lot from the set. Ancient Box gains the new Koraidon. Koraidon actually is able to slap a huge amount of damage if you attack with an ancient Pokemon during your last turn. That actually does allow you to hit bigger numbers. You have the fighting typing at your disposal, meaning you can one-shot lightning weak Pokemon as well as the Terapagos that are running around rampant. But still, I don't know if I could be putting it higher. Maybe we just put it in tier B for now, giving it the benefit of the doubt. Let's talk about Regis. The Regis gain the Terra Pikachu, which is a Terra Pokemon that cannot get one-shot, so pretty much it turns into a one-price Pokemon. You can power up Pikachu EX through the means of the Ancient Wisdom ability. I have not seen a lot of success on the online circuit as well as, in Japan. So I'll just put it in the low end of tier C. It looks fun, but I personally would not be trying out this exact 60 like exact 60 with Regigigas and playing the carrier ace pack card to just fill up your bench instantly you're weak against Iono plays and the counter stadium, but on the other hand, you do come back with Pikachu as the EX Pokemon that is not going to be able to get one-shotted. So I don't know how to feel about these Regis. Nobody's playing Lost City at the moment, so maybe it has untapped potential. Let's just leave it at tier C for now. Okay. Any other decks? Great Tusk is a deck I personally would not play, even with the upcoming format here. The reason for that is that it has a bad Lugia matchup, and people can easily play around it. Also has a bad time against any Gardevoir archetype out there, so Great Tusk is not it for me. Terapagos, I'll put that in tier A. It has proven itself worthy. Not only can you play Terapagos with Dusknoir, you can play it with a bunch of Bouffalands and some healing capabilities. I think Terapagos is definitely here on the tier A group. Moving forward, Charizard, also tier A. Nothing has changed for these like main stay archetypes like Lugia, Charizard. All of these are still tier A decks and solid choices going into the upcoming format. Like the newcomers are actually decks that Charizard loves to see. Stuff like Ceruledge, something you can easily beat because at one point Charizard will be able to one-shot all the Ceruledges, and if they don't have enough energies in the discard pile, which means like Iono them to a low hand size, you can have a great time. So yeah, I don't know how to feel about the situation going currently. I think Ceruledge always has the two-shot Zard and stuff. Let's just put Charizard in tier A. Continuing on, let's talk about Miraidon. I'm even willing to put that in tier A. I'm actually not putting any deck in tier S in this new format because a couple of these decks from tier A will eventually go up to tier S, but this is a tier list prediction video, and that's why we are putting Miraidon in tier A. Miraidon gains a couple of new tricks. Latias for the free retreat. Pikachu EX as a Terra Pokemon is not able to get one-shotted, which is great, and you also come back with Magneton, being able to get back energies from the discard pile. Even early on, by turn 2, you can use it to power up something like an Iron Hands, and back-to-back Iron Hands makes Miraidon a very solid choice. Not only do you have a solid Lugia matchup, your Terapagos matchup is also not that bad. You now have access to stuff like Raichu again in combination with Magneton to make sure you can have great damage against higher HP Pokemon. Chien-Pao, I'm afraid. What do we say about Chien-Pao, to be honest? Chien-Pao hasn't been doing all that well. Ever since Legacy Energy has a bad Lugia matchup, Terapagos with Dusknoirs eats up your Baxcaliburs, Charizard comes back with Dusknoirs, Miraidon can amp and stuff. They're spread around with Dragapult, with Kyurem. I think I'm putting Chien-Pao in the don't play this category. I know, it's crazy. Next up is Iron Thorns. Let's put that in tier B. This is one of those decks that if you see the correct matchups, you win tournaments, as happened at the World Championships as well. Iron Thorns has a very solid Charizard matchup, a very incredibly OP auto-win matchup against Lugia. And it is a great deck all around. Has a tough time against Terapagos, but and Miraidons even sometimes as well. Depends on their setup, to be honest. If you're faster than them, you're going to have a great time. So, but has a bad time against Lost Zone boxes. So yeah, our Iron Thorns in the mid, tier B for me. Raging Bolt, yeah. Let's also put that in tier B. You could even go into tier A, to be honest, because the deck is still very strong. Let's just put it in the tier A category. It's one of those decks, again, nothing has changed for the deck in general. You could, of course, play something to lower the HP on specific Pokemon with the Stadium, but it's not going to help with your numbers, not at all, because you can easily one-shot. I think from new A-Spec cards, also nothing to look at here because Prime Catcher's obviously way better. Also talking about decks that gain a new A-Spec card is Gholdengo, putting it in the higher end of tier B. It might even climb itself all the way up to A tier. It comes now with the Energy Pro, the A-Spec Super Energy Pro, that's allowing you to get any different, all the basic energies with different types from your deck instantly. So that can be turning into a Make It Rain turn 2 very powerfully. You can get it with Irida, with the Code Breaker. You can also put 2 on top. So Gholdengo has actually gotten quite the buff it deserved here with Surging Sparks. Regidrago VSTAR, again, not the club tier A category here for me. Like, these are like the 5 how would say, horsemen of the format here. Regidrago, Lugia, Charizard, Terapagos, Regigigas, they are very, very strong. Maybe Miraidon can be one of those tier A decks, and maybe some of these will become tier S decks, but this is a tier list prediction video, so I'm not like predicting anything. Regidrago VSTAR also gains the Alolan Executor EX, which allows you to flip a coin to either knock out a basic in the active or a basic on the bench. Is it going to be powerful enough? Probably not, because we're not in a big basics format, although Raging Bolt and Miraidon beg to differ. So Regidrago also is one of those most versatile decks in the format, being able to use stuff like Kyurem, Hisuian Goodra, stuff like Noivern, even if you want to, Giratina VSTAR, all the good stuff is in there. So very strong deck indeed. Yeah, the last successor is going to be Dragapult. Dragapult is not a tier A deck just because of consistency issues. If you want to be using Dragapult's Phantom Dive, you're way better off using Regidrago VSTAR and of course the Apex Dragon, as proven time and time again in this format, and the upcoming format not a lot will change, and so I'm putting that in the tier B category. Whether you're a fan of Dusknoirs, whether you're a fan of the Pidgeot line, I think Dragapult is a solid deck, and I'll for now put it in tier B. Klawf, tier C deck, it's one of those decks that sometimes does well. You can donk people without them even having a turn through the means of the Patcherand. You also come back with a very good typing, being able to, of course, hit weakness against Miraidon, hit weakness, against other fighting weak Pokemon out there, like, for example, a Blood Moon Ursaluna, a Terapagos. So, typing-wise, it's pretty good. You could also come with the Hisuian Electrode V in combination with super effective glasses to even hit a little bit on the higher HP department Pokemon like Charizard EX and even Hydreigon EX. So interesting deck for sure. Snorlax block, I'm always putting Snorlax block in tier B. I'm never putting Snorlax block below tier B, and the reason for that is that if people don't respect it, you lose. Snorlax block does come back with the annoying ability that you're not able to manually retreat, so if you don't come back with switches or Prime Catcher or anything, or Turo or Penny, you're gonna be sorry, because they're gonna be trapping Pokemon that are not able to attack. Think about Radiant Greninja, think about Squawk ability that's not dishing out enough damage before they Penny Loop, think about other bench hitters, think about like Phasandipity, for example. That's literally in every deck right now. You're gonna get trapped because of Snorlax, and the accompanying Flute will really help out with that. Palkia, Dusknoir, I'll put that also in tier B. High end of tier B. It is a very strong deck, but it requires a very strong pilot, and sometimes you have those weird opening hands where you need to squawk away half of your night stretchers and things go wrong very quickly. That's why I'm putting the Palkia line all the way in tier B. Another deck out there is like the Palkia with Noctowl, whether you're playing the Jet Energy build with Illumise Volbeat or just regular Noctowl with like trumpets and all that good stuff. I'll still put both of them in tier B. Not only does Miraidon gain a boost in this set, making Palkia less of a good play, you also do lack the consistency in my book, although with the help of like Noctowl you can get any card you want. That much is true, but if you're playing Noctowl, you're probably not playing Dusknoir, which means sometimes Palkia is not dishing out enough damage. So yeah, there is that, putting them both on tier B. Banette in this format, is it still strong? It did really well at the Lille regionals, if I'm not mistaken. So also at the Gdansk regional. So Banette is definitely a deck that slowly but steadily is gaining more and more respect. So I'll put that in tier B as well. Any other decks out there in the format? Maybe I could put a couple of these down to tier C, but maybe. Pidgeot Control, also tier B, maybe on the higher end of tier B, because I have seen it in action, and again, specific, if you know the exact meta game, the 5 most played decks, you can build a control deck that pretty much beats them all. Okay, moving forward, Lost Box, also tier B. I can never put Lost Box higher than tier B in this situation that happened with, of course, Regidrago still being a solid tier A deck, and the Kyurem always lurking around the corner. I don't think Lost Box will ever sleep a night assured that they will whiff or not see any Regidrago VSTARs at regional tournaments. Gardevoir did perform really well at the Gdansk regionals, but I can never put it higher than tier B. As mentioned, there are still a lot of threats that Gardevoir needs to deal with. Not only are we living in a Dusknoir world, which is very annoying for your Courteous, and you're also going to be in a situation that sometimes you are not fast enough. Decks out there like Terapagos with Dusknoirs can just swoop your entire field. Lugia can get a turn 2 Iron Hands off. Miraidon also got way more popular and is able to set up more Miraidons, actually more Iron Hands easily through the means of Magneton, and even can Raichu to go for the one-shot on the Gardevoir EX. There's Kyurem through the means of Regidrago with stuff like Cologne. So yeah, Gardevoir, tier B deck. And then 2 more very aggro decks that we need to talk about. Gouging Fire, a big shout out to Luke to just put this on the map. Still put it in the low end of tier B. It's like, I don't know. I think it's the last version of a Raging Bull, although it does come back with more options. You can be playing with Dalfox V. You can have the one prize Moltres in the deck. There are also Ante-Vs, which slap a reasonable amount of damage if you're up against a area 0 under Dap deck. I guess so far that much is true, but I'm still not too keen on the deck. And then Roaring Moon EX, I'll put that in the exact same position here. It is very turbo, but there are better turbo decks out there, definitely with the help of Raging Bull and Miraidon being the ones that I personally prefer. So tons and tons of tier B decks, a little bit of tier C. These are the decks I personally would not touch. Chien-Pao, Great Tusk, and Azumarill. I could be proven wrong, but this is just my opinion. So for now, currently no tier S decks. These are like the best decks I see here. The Pikachu EX is the best card that came out of Surging Sparks in my opinion because of the ability. If everyone starts playing like Hawlucha or Cologne, or just to deal with that ability, they can attack against it. But if they don't attack against it, Pikachu can be a very annoying Pokemon to deal with, as in the Lost Box deck, it can attack, you can Mirage Gate attach again, and it can attack twice. It turns pretty much into a one-price Pokemon if the opponent needs to like deal with it, actually attack it twice, which is very great. It has a great time against Raging Bull, a great time against Terapagos, although you can actually finish it off through the means of stuff like Dusknoir, but then you have to give up a prize to take a prize, and yeah, I don't know if that's gonna be changing anything. Other than that, there also like are decks out there that uses Dusknoir in combination with stuff like Night Spreading situations with like the Phantom Dive, like Dragapult with, of course, Dusknoir can deal with that Pikachu, but that's it. I wonder how Miraidon will do. Will it actually turn itself into a tier S deck, or will it actually flop? This is my current tier list for, of course, Surging Sparks. Let me know in the comment section below how you feel about this tier list. Did I do a fantastic job or not? I want to hear your opinions down below. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your day, and as always, be sure to, of course, destroy the hell out of the like button. Helps out in many ways. And go check out the sponsors that make the videos possible. They are, of course, yeah, linked down below in the description. Check out Dragon Shield for your sleeves, binders, and deck boxes. You can get 5% off using the coupon ZAPDOS5. TC Evolutions for your damage counters and ability tokens. You can get 10% off using the coupon ZAPDOSTCG. PokemonStore.com for your TCG Live code card needs. You can get 5% off on everything on the website. They have Surging Sparks up on stock. They have promo codes up on stock. Definitely use the coupon and you're going to get a whopping 5% off. And last but not least, cardmarket.com for European players, where you're able to buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. Use the referral name ZAPDOSTCG to help support the channel. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for more Pokemon TCG epicness. Peace.